Hello and welcome. So today, guys, it is all about bond number 9, and I'm going to be giving you a detailed review of their latest launch, which is Gold Street. Now, I'm sure that you can see behind me that the spot where I typically have all of my bond number 9 bottles is completely empty. That's because I'm also going to be ranking for you my entire bond number 9 collection, which to date consists of about 15 bottles. If you are interested in a detailed review of any of the bond number 9s that I'm going to be sharing with you as I rank them, just go ahead and enter the name in the channel page in the search bar, and you should be able to see a video pull up with a detailed review. All right, guys, so let's get to it. But before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in, and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go, fam. All right, guys, so I wore a black sweater today just to make sure, because you know the bond number 9 bottles are so colorful. So I figured, let me wear a black sweater so that each bottle can have its moment, right? So let's go ahead and talk about Gold Street. So Gold Street is a bond number 9 fragrance that was launched, I think, towards the very end of 2024. In 2024, bond number 9 launched quite the number of fragrances, and I think I picked them up all except for 2, which are Beekman Place and the Harrods exclusive, the one that they launched in collaboration with Harrods. But other than that, I did pick up all the other bottles because I did get samples of most of them and I really, really enjoyed them. So Gold Street is a fragrance, guys, that is very interesting to me because while it is a very leather forward kind of fragrance, number one, the note of leather has been done in a very smooth way. It's almost like at times you pick up on like a leather note, but at other times it's more of like a smooth kind of like suede note. But all in all, what I really, really love about this fragrance is that to me, it is completely different than any other bond that I have in my collection because, as I said before, it is a leather forward fragrance. But it is different because it combines the notes of like gourmand, floral notes, and like woody notes. In addition to that, I have only seen the note of blueberry done in one other fragrance from the entire bond number 9 portfolio of fragrances, and that is in Bleecker Street. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know that Bleecker Street during my last bond number 9 ranking video ranked really, really high because I really love that fragrance. But in this one, I have to tell you that what I am picking up primarily is the note of blueberry, that kind of like leather suede note. I'm also picking up on the vanilla, on some caramel, and some woody notes. Then, to top it all off, one of the notes that I really, really pick up clearly in this fragrance is the note of iris. So you guys know how much a good iris and violet fragrance means to me. And here, the iris has been done beautifully. At the end, guys, I am just loving the fact that I'm getting such a different fragrance because it is such a combination of different scent profiles. So this fragrance opens up rather smooth, immediately transporting you into a world of smooth, elegant yumminess. Because yes, the fragrance is yummy without having you smell like food and without losing its complete elegance. Very, very interesting. Now in the opening, it is warm, spicy, it is sweet, and I do pick up on a very dominant blueberry note. I also start to pick up on the iris, but the iris is not weak, but it is in the background and really doesn't make a strong debut. No, it is really all about the blueberry, that very smooth leather note, and a bit of that warm spiciness. Almost immediately, I would say like a couple of minutes after that very interesting opening, you are going to start to pick up on the caramel. And the caramel adds to the sweetness that you experienced in the opening. But the caramel is very peculiar, guys, because it has like a touch of a salty quality to it. And I can clearly pick it up. But that saltiness just brings like balance to that sweetness of the caramel and the sweetness that I experienced in the opening, which I really think was coming from the vanilla. Now, midway in the olfactory journey is when I really start to pick up on the other florals. But the two florals that are quite dominant to my nose midway in the olfactory journey are number one, the iris, which has now like become a bit more intense than what I experienced in the opening, and the jasmine. But one doesn't really become more dominant than the other. They both play very well. But at the end of the day, we know that the iris is the star. Now, all throughout the olfactory journey, guys, you are definitely going to pick up on the vanilla because the vanilla is a very present note. It's never like quite very dominant or overpowering, but the vanilla is present, and that sweetness and that caramel with that touch of salt is always there, giving this fragrance like a yumminess. But interestingly enough, guys, as you approach the dry down, you are going to pick up on a fragrance that undeniably is a leather forward fragrance, but somehow, guys, is also very yummy. And it has this floral aspect to it that makes it a very elegantly beautiful fragrance while being yummy and while having quite a bit of character due to that leather suede note and the woody notes. I tell you, this is one of the most complex olfactory journeys that I've experienced in any Bond Number 9 fragrance. And what's interesting enough is that I've tried this fragrance several times because the first time that I tried it, it was not a linear fragrance, but it's just that I focused on it being a gourmand. So I guess I was just looking like for the gourmand quality of the fragrance. And I missed out on all the floral aspect and the beautifully done leather and the woody notes and everything else that you can experience with it. So the second time, I just try to wear it for a full day and really try and experience the olfactory journey in a bit more detail, not labeling the fragrance as a gourmand, but just trying it as a new fragrance in my collection. And I have to tell you, I was just, oh my goodness, in heaven, because this is truly a very elegant fragrance that, while being leather forward, is still extremely yummy. It is important that you know that, to me, this is definitely not an edible gourmand fragrance. It's really not. And this is a fragrance that I think is suited for any season of the year. Yes, even though this is a leather fragrance, this is really such a smoothly done leather and such an exquisitely blended fragrance that you can pull it off any season of the year, and really for any occasion, day or night. This is also a fragrance that I consider to be unisex, and it does lean to the feminine side a bit, but just a bit. I really think, and I can see a gentleman wearing this fragrance as well as a lady. This fragrance has no oud, but it does have musk. And I would say that the musk is a level 3 without the musk coming across ever as animalic, because I'm not picking on any animalic quality to the fragrance at all. This is a fragrance that's also performing very well for me because it is giving me a full day wear and a strong projection during the first 90 minutes, after which it does become a skin scent. But it is a skin scent that will allow you to sniff yourself throughout the day. I would say that towards the end of a full day wear is when the fragrance really becomes a very intimate skin scent, and it is just a beautifully, beautifully done fragrance that you will experience more as an intimate than more of a projecting fragrance towards the end of your day. All in all, guys, I do really, really enjoy this fragrance and I do highly recommend it. I give it a 9 out of 10 because it is a fragrance, guys, that while being exquisitely beautiful, it is a bit soft in its wear. It's not that it's weak or that it faints immediately or that it doesn't perform, but I thought from the notes, from reading the notes, I thought that it was going to be not a powerhouse, not a beast mode fragrance, but that it would have a bit more oomph. But other than that, guys, I think that this fragrance is just exquisite and so, so different than anything else that I have in my Bond Number 9 collection. I must say that curiously enough, even though this fragrance was launched in 2024, at the beginning, in the opening, it did remind me a bit of Bond Number 1, which you guys know is a fragrance that I absolutely love, which was also launched in 2024 and which has become an obsession. They're not the same fragrance, but in the opening, I kind of get a bit of the same vibe. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with the ranking. So the last time I did a Bond Number 9 collection ranking was, as I said before, a year ago. And I want to let you guys know that, well, let me just say that if you are interested in hearing the details of each of these Bond Number 9 fragrances, I do have them in the channel because I've discussed all of these fragrances here on the channel at one time or the other. So please just enter the name of the bottle in the channel page in the search bar and a video should come up. Now, the other thing that I do want to tell you before I start ranking them is that if you saw my last ranking, guys, this one is going to take you by surprise. I'm just warning you because there's been quite a shift in my preferences as it relates to these fragrances. It has a lot to do, I guess, with, we evolve or we change our mind. It's not that I dislike any of the fragrances, by the way, because I want you to know that truly I love all of the fragrances in my Bond Number 9 collection. Bond Number 9, while being an incredibly beautiful fragrance house with incredible quality, is quite pricey. So I am not going to pick up a Bond Number 9 fragrance and just keep it just because. No, these are fragrances that I absolutely love, but I had to rank them for you. So let's go ahead and jump into the ranking. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start with number 15. And this one is Perfumista Avenue. Now, guys, Perfumista Avenue. Perfumista Avenue to me is like the Bond Number 9 rose fragrance. Not a rose oud combination because there's another one coming up that I consider to be the rose oud combination. No, Perfumista to me is the quintessential rose fragrance for Bond Number 9. And at that, this to me is a very nostalgic, very romantic kind of rose fragrance. The rose is definitely jammy, and it is a rose that I think brings with it a bit of maturity. Does that mean that this to me is kind of like a dated rose or dated kind of rose fragrance? Oh, no, guys. This does not smell like grandma rose to me. No, it does not, okay? This really smells to me like a mature rose. And because of that, I really think that this fragrance is best suited for the ages of 35 plus. I can't imagine someone in their 20s really pulling off this fragrance because, again, it is a jammy rose with a certain level of maturity to it. The next fragrance that I have for you is Madison Avenue. And guys, Madison Avenue is the Chypre floral fragrance for Bond Number 9. And this fragrance has some white florals. It also has a rose. The rose in this fragrance is a young rose, but not like a freshly bloomed. Let's say that it's a rose that bloomed a day ago. And that's the rose that I pick up in this fragrance. But this is very much a Chypre floral fragrance, but I must warn you of two things. Number one, you are going to pick up on the note of patchouli, very, very much so. I would say midway in the olfactory journey. And number two, for those fam members that are sensitive to ambroxan, this is not a fragrance for you because it does have ambroxan. It is a very beautifully feminine fragrance, and it does have a fruity aspect to it, courtesy of the notes of blackberry, guys, and apple. And the funny thing is that I do pick up on the blackberry. It's never dominant. It is kind of faint, but it is definitely present. The next fragrance that I have for you is Chinatown. And this one is the only bottle from my entire collection that I picked up in the 50 ml. So it's like the tiny bottle, but it is so cute. Now, Chinatown for me is truly a white florals fragrance. But the thing about this fragrance that makes it, in my opinion, so different and which has so much character is that it also has the note of oud. Now, the oud in this fragrance, while you are going to pick it up, it is a very smooth oud, but it's like a level 3, I would say, where 5 is the most that you will pick up on a fragrance and 1 being the least. I would say that this is definitely a level 3 oud. At that, you're also going to pick up on some gardenia. The gardenia tends to be quite dominant in parts of the olfactory journey, but it's not just about the gardenia because, again, to me, this is definitely a white florals fragrance. There's also like a spicy aspect to it, courtesy of the note of cardamom, because to me, the cardamom is quite present in this fragrance. But it's, again, all about the white florals. Now, this next fragrance, guys, I just want to tell you, I know that there's a cult following for this next one, and I am ranking it at number 12. But just keep in mind that I told you in the opening that I do love all of these fragrances, but I had to rank them. And coming in at number 12, I have Tribeca. Now, first and foremost, Tribeca is an exquisite fragrance that to me is an incredibly elegant fragrance, guys. Truly a timeless icon within the Bond Number 9 collection of fragrances. Now, I do want to warn you that this fragrance does have ambroxan for those of you who are sensitive to ambroxan. But other than that, guys, oh my goodness, this is such an exquisite fragrance. It is unisex. It does lean, in my opinion, a tad to the feminine side. This is one that is signature scent worthy that you can wear all throughout the year for any occasion, day or night. This is definitely one of the most versatile fragrances that you will find in the Bond Number 9 portfolio of fragrances. So next, and coming in at number 11, I have another fragrance which has a cult following within Bond Number 9. Guys, I'm bringing in Greenwich Village. Now, guys, this is a fragrance that, like most of you, I absolutely love. This is yet another iconic fragrance within the Bond Number 9 fragrance house. Greenwich Village, to me, is the musk perfection fragrance within Bond Number 9. This is definitely a fragrance that I think is perfect for the seasons of spring and summer, but you can really pull it off any season of the year, in my opinion. Any occasion, day or night, you can make it your signature scent. But I will also tell you that much like Tribeca, it does have ambroxan. But for those of you that are not sensitive to ambroxan, oh my goodness, this is a fragrance, guys, that is just a delight to have in your collection and to wear. And the compliments that you will get with this fragrance, it is just exquisite. Here you will find a note that I don't find in many fragrances, which is the water lily. Oh my goodness, there's some water lily, there's some lychee in here. Of course, there's vanilla. Let us know if you own Greenwich Village, because I know so many of you probably have this fragrance in your collection. All right, guys, so we've entered now the realm of the top 10. And I am starting with New York Nights. And I can almost hear the gasping on your end because this one also has a cult following, guys, because this is the ultimate coffee fragrance. This is like the signature coffee fragrance of the Bond Number 9 fragrance house. And it deserves that place because when I tell you, oh my goodness, this is such an incredibly done fragrance, guys. Here you find the coffee done with some florals, but you know what really floored me the first time that I really wore this fragrance is the fact that it not only is a coffee forward fragrance with some florals, but then it has some sea notes. So it has like a very present aquatic quality to it. And I am here for it. This is a fragrance that if you have not gotten your nose on it, guys, and you are a Bond Number 9 lover or someone who is starting their Bond Number 9 journey, this is a fragrance that you definitely want to get your nose on because I can almost guarantee that you're going to end up picking it up. And it is definitely a unisex fragrance. All right, guys, so this next fragrance, if you've been with me for a while, you're going to be kind of surprised that this fragrance has landed where it has because this next fragrance was my number 1 pick during my last ranking Bond Number 9 video. And I have to tell you that I know some of you will be so surprised. This is still a very deep love for me. But guys, there's so many other fragrances that I just love, absolutely love from this house. But now, coming in at number 9, we're going to talk about Nolita. Now, Nolita is a floral fragrance with some beautifully done citrusy notes. This fragrance is perfection for spring and summer. This is like truly the spring summer fragrance. It is versatile for spring and it is versatile for summer. This is not one that I would necessarily recommend that you pull during the fall and winter seasons, even though you can wear whatever you want, whenever you want. But to me, this is definitely designed for spring and summer. This is an ambery fragrance that is quite musky with a tad of woodiness just to add some character to it. But I tell you, this one is, I mean, it was my number 1 pick last year, but this year we have it at number 9, Nolita. All right, guys, so this next one was not in my last ranking because this one was just launched in 2024. And what can I say? This is definitely a love for me. So coming in at number 8, we have New York Gardenia. Guys, this is the white florals fragrance of 2024 in my opinion. But the star, as the name says it, is the gardenia. If you do not love, I kind of like it sometimes. No. If you do not love the note of gardenia, this one is not for you. You have to love how a gardenia flower really smells because this is all about the gardenia. This fragrance has a ton of vanilla. This for me is truly a feminine fragrance, and I can tell you that this one borders on beast, if not beast mode. I've never oversprayed it because, you know, when it comes to white florals, you have to be careful. And from the moment that I first sprayed it, which I sprayed it on paper, I couldn't get the smell of gardenia to leave the room. So I just knew I had to be very careful. But this one is a high compliment getter, but I am telling you, you must be a lover of gardenia. Now that gardenia is balanced with a very nicely done note of vanilla. And that vanilla is a bit sweet, but not very sweet. So the fragrance is sweet, but not very sweet. But I tell you, please let us know if you've gotten your nose on this incredible gardenia fragrance. All right, guys, so this next fragrance is really very interesting to me, and I'm wiping off my little fingerprints because it has a reflective surface. So this next one, coming in at number 7, is New York Forever. Now let's talk a little bit about New York Forever because this one is an interesting one. So here you're going to find notes of like cinnamon bark and patchouli and sweet, spicy vanilla and a honeyed amber. Now I'm also going to tell you that there's a bit of earthiness also to this fragrance. But here's the thing about New York Forever. Guys, at first sniff, in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get, are you ready? You're going to get Kilian Angel's Share, but less sweet, airier. So the things that I love Angel Share, I mean, who doesn't for the most part, but the one thing I just don't appreciate much is the intensity of the sweetness, right? And it is so highly boozy. This one, guys, the opening. Now, am I saying that New York Forever is like a dupe for Kilian Angel Share? No, guys, this one was launched in 2023. And no, this is not the same as Kilian Angel Share. But I did want to let you know that in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to remember Kilian Angel Share because you're going to get that booziness, that sweetness, but airier, guys. And it is so beautiful. Now, as the olfactory journey continues, you're going to forget about Angel Share and you're going to experience the magic of New York Forever because, oh my goodness, this is a fragrance that I consider to be suited exclusively for the seasons of fall and winter. But it has that like honey amber note that makes it just so cozy and just there's a warmth to it. It is just an exquisitely beautiful fragrance. Let us know if you've gotten your nose on New York Forever and your thoughts. All right, guys, coming in at number 6, I have a fragrance that I have to tell you, to me, this fragrance is a masterpiece. And this fragrance is for my iris and violet lovers. But when I tell you that this fragrance, oh my goodness, guys. And this one is New York Flowers. Okay, if you've gotten your nose on New York Flowers or you own it, can you please let us know your thoughts? To me, this is a masterpiece. This is iris violet perfection. But let me tell you, so this fragrance is truly primarily about the iris and the violet, which are dominant but done exquisitely. At that, the iris and the violet, while being the stars and dominant, do not overwhelm the exquisite blend of the fragrance, making it a very smooth, sophisticated, just incredibly alluring type of scent. And even though the iris and the violet are at the helm, the fragrance is not excessively powdery because there is an inherent fizziness and airiness to the fragrance, quality of the note of champagne, which they have disclosed it as Kir Royale. And you guys know that Kir Royale is a champagne cocktail. But guys, I pick up on the aspect of Kir Royale, but what I really pick up is on that fizziness and like, airiness of the champagne note, which has been done to perfection. In addition to that, guys, there's a fruity quality to the fragrance, courtesy primarily to my nose of the note of Anjou pear. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm telling you, this is classy, sophisticated, rich, just a beautiful, beautiful feminine fragrance because to me, this one is not unisex at all. This is truly a feminine fragrance. Let us know your thoughts if you've tried it. All right, guys, so now we've entered into crazy passion territory. So get ready because we are at the top 5. And coming in at number 5, guys, is a fragrance that during my last ranking, I think it was number 2. I think Nolita was number 1 and this one was number 2. Guys, the love continues to be the same. It's just that there's other fragrances that have bumped up. But I have to tell you that Bleecker Street, oh my goodness. this fragrance. Wow. Now, Bleecker Street is designated as an oriental woody fragrance, but this is a fragrance, guys, that when I first sniffed it several years ago, and then I picked it up and I started to use it, I just could not get enough of it. I was crazy obsessed with this fragrance because the note of blueberry is so real and dominant in this fragrance. And I'm going to tell you, this is one that is not a safe blind buy because that blueberry note can be something else. This is the fragrance that really taught me how to pick up on the note of blueberry and how it interacts with other notes. Because here you have a note of violet leaf. And while it's a violet leaf, there is a tad of powderiness to the fragrance, but not much because it's really not about that. But what the violet leaf does, in my opinion, is bring a tad of greenness to the fragrance. This is a very aromatic fragrance to my nose, and it has a touch of like an aquatic quality to it. And it is also a fragrance that I consider to be truly unisex. This does not lean to the feminine or to the masculine side. This is truly, to me, a unisex fragrance. All right, guys, so coming in at number 4, we have none other than Gold Street. And I don't need to tell you anything because I just reviewed it for you, but I just want you to know that this is how much I really, really enjoy this fragrance. It has really ranked that high and has bumped others down in the list. And it could be that because it's such a new fragrance in my collection, I'm just enjoying it so much that I put it way up there. But truly, this is a fragrance that can really hold its ground. All right, guys, so we are now entering the top 3. And we are going to start with none other than Chelsea Nights. Guys, this fragrance is decadence in a bottle to me. This fragrance to me is primarily and all about the note of cacao. This is a fragrance that was launched in 2022 and I picked it up almost immediately. And it is a fragrance that, while I immediately knew that I loved it, I wasn't obsessed with it because this fragrance is not for everybody. This is one of those fragrances that will take you a minute to really understand its essence, and from it, what is it that speaks to you? What is it that you love about it? This is a fragrance that is so complex and gives you such an incredible olfactory journey. I am not going to get into the full-on details because I have a dedicated review for this fragrance, guys. But when I tell you, this is an incredible fragrance. This is a fragrance that, in addition to that cacao note, is warm, spicy, and it's courtesy of the notes of saffron and turmeric. And when I tell you, that saffron is everything with that cacao. Oh my goodness. But in addition to that, the fragrance does have some oud. And the oud, to my nose, is like, I would say a level 2 because it is so smooth. Is it negligible? No. Are you going to pick up on the oud? Yes. But is the oud one that you should be concerned about if you're not even an oud lover? No. But still, this is a fragrance that you definitely want to try a couple of times, in my opinion, before deciding to pick it up. But this is just incredible. And it is, to me, also a unisex fragrance. If I had to pick a side, I would say that it leans a tad to the feminine side, but to me, this is truly a unisex fragrance. All right, guys, so this next fragrance in my last ranking ranked rather high, but not as high as it has today. Guys, this one, and it's not going to come as a surprise because so many of you are aware of this masterpiece, because this is truly a masterpiece. In my collection, I have quite the number of oud rose fragrances. It's almost like every single fragrance house has decided to give us their interpretation of an oud rose fragrance. But I have to tell you that Bond number 9 kicked it out of the ballpark with this one. Because when I tell you Nomad is in the building. Make way. Guys, this has got to be one of the best oud rose fragrances out there. But at that, let's talk about this oud. This oud is like a level 3 oud that you're going to pick up on. There is no way that you're going to sniff this fragrance and not know that there's oud here. If you've never experienced oud, you're going to be like, well, there's something in there that is quite intense, not screechy, not loud, not overpowering, not overwhelming, not obnoxious, but definitely there, that oud. But the oud here, guys, is like a sweetened oud. And when I tell you, it gives oud a new dimension, a new meaning, a new everything. And the rose is a freshly bloomed, crisp, beautiful rose. She is exhilarating, she's energetic, she's invigorating, she's inspiring, she is everything. That is the rose in this fragrance. Guys, this is just a masterpiece. And to top it all off, this has 2 fruity notes that I pick up so clearly and that it adds like a new layer or a dimension to this fragrance. And those 2 notes are the notes of pear and quince. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm telling you, it's a shutdown. When you walk in wearing this fragrance anywhere, get ready. Get ready because the compliments will fly. It's not 1 compliment, it's not 2. No, it's the type of fragrance that someone has asked you what you're wearing and you're standing there explaining to them that you're wearing Nomad and what Nomad is about and how it makes you feel, because there's a total vibe to Nomad, I'm telling you, right? But other people will start to approach, and before you know it, you'll be in the center of a group of people discussing Nomad. It is that alluring, that magical, that incredible fragrance. Please let us know if you own Nomad, how you feel about it. Let us know if you've tried it. And most importantly, actually, I want to know, is there someone who really tried it and doesn't like it? And I want to know why. Not that I think that everybody's going to love this fragrance, but I'm curious. I just want to know. I like to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's go. All right, guys. So we've reached the number 1. If you've been with me for a while, you already know which one it is. This one was not even part of my last ranking video because this one was just launched in 2024. Guys, the obsession is real. I know that we fragrance content creators talk about obsession quite frequently. I do talk about it, but I don't think it's very frequent. But when I tell you obsession over a fragrance, I mean it. Obsession means that I'm trying a fragrance for the day because I'm testing it in preparation for a video or because I just want to test a fragrance. And I can't wait for that one to like fade or wear off so that I can go pick up that fragrance. Obsession means that I really have to convince myself to not pull it, to wear it every morning. Obsession means that every time I'm preparing an outfit for a special occasion, this is a fragrance that I'm going to consider. This is a fragrance that most likely I'm going to wear. And when I tell you that Bond number 1 in the number 1 spot today, it is going to be hard for another Bond to come along that will take the place of Bond number 1. Guys, I have already told you how I really feel about this fragrance. Watch this. I hope you're ready. I have to tell you guys, I am beyond obsessed with this fragrance. I have had fragrances in the past that I've been obsessed with, but this next fragrance. So you guys know that I love Bond number 9. And this is the latest launch. This one is Bond number 1, New York. I don't even know where to start. This has got to be this one. Okay, so for those of you that have been with me for a while, or maybe you've just watched my Bond number 9 collection video where I ranked them, and you guys know that Nolita was my number 1. Yes, I said was, because this one is my new favorite. Guys, this is outstanding. This is, wow. This is Vanilla Heaven from Bond number 9. And the fact that they labeled it number 1 is so appropriate, because I am sure that this will become the favorite of many Bond number 9 followers, because this is just incredible. This fragrance is a musk-based fragrance. But at that, the vanilla is so dominant. The vanilla is everything in this fragrance. It's almost like they decided to feature their new approach to vanilla using this fragrance. So this fragrance is definitely sweet. It does have a combination of yellow and white florals. But at that, the rose within the florals is not, I would say, necessarily dominant, but it is definitely present. The strong notes are definitely the vanilla, the white and yellow florals with the rose always in the backdrop, always, and a bit of woodiness, which gives character, a bit more character to the fragrance. So it's not just a vanilla musk fragrance, because that woodiness is not one that is faint. It's not overpowering. It's just like the perfect balance to add depth to the fragrance. There is definitely some patchouli in this fragrance, but I only pick it up midway through the olfactory journey, and then it becomes very faint, almost disappearing. That is really not a factor in this fragrance, because when I tell you that the vanilla is the star, the vanilla wants to show you all of its facets. So if you combine vanilla with woods, what does that give you? If you combine vanilla with white florals, what does that give you? If you combine vanilla with yellow florals, what does that give you? If you combine vanilla with tonka bean, what does that give you? That's what I get from this fragrance. This is a very balanced kind of fragrance that brings it all together. It's like you've gone through many things, through some good things, through some bad things, but this is the well-rounded version of you. This is well-being at its best. It is a fragrance that will put a pep in your step for sure. This is a fragrance that is very uplifting. It has an incredible sillage, and it does, on my skin at least, border into beast mode. But it's one of those beast mode, bordering on beast mode kind of fragrances that is not too intense, because there is a smoothness again to this fragrance, of that equilibrium, of that balance that you strike in life at times. That's what I get from this fragrance. So while it performs very, very well, it's also not overpowering or too intense. I just figured, guys, that my emotions were captured in that video so clearly that I just felt that, you know what, let's just play that clip for them. Let's remind them, if they watch that video, of when I discuss this fragrance. All right, guys, so we've reached the end of today's video, and guys, this was such a fun and enjoyable video for me, because to prepare for this video, so that you understand my process, I spray every single fragrance and take every single, tester, and I line them all up, and then I line the test strip in front of it, and I allow the dry down to come in, and then I sniff it just to trigger all of those emotions and memories of each one. And then I start to rank them. But inevitably, when I reach the number, I would say the top 7, it became such a struggle. It became such a struggle, because the love is so real for all of these fragrances, all of them. But it was so much fun. Anyway, guys, I hope that this was fun for you too, and that it was also valuable, and that this is a video that you can reference in the future and, come back to. And please let me know if you have any questions, and I am certainly looking forward to all of your comments and opinions. Thank you as always so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.